The flight ended before my body did. 10 hours compresses time into something thick and sticky. You land carrying yesterday in your joints. I stood on my mother's porch with that feeling still clinging to me, the smell of jet fuel not quite gone. The house exactly as I'd left it years ago. Wind chimes, peeling paint. The faint citrus of a cleaner she loved because it promised order. She opened the door. No hello, no hug. You'll babysit your brother's kids, she said, already turning back into the house. We're going on a family trip. It took a second for the sentence to arrange itself in my head. Babysit. Kids, trip. Family. All the nouns were familiar. The way they were assembled wasn't new either. It was the speed that caught me. How little ceremony there was around taking my time. My brother leaned against the counter, coffee in hand, grin ready. Don't wipe your snot on her, kids, he said, nodding toward me. They laughed because he laughed. He always had that gravity. I smiled. I've been told my smile looks cooperative even when it isn't. I set my bag down carefully, as if it might break if I dropped it. There's a moment like this where the body reaches for old instructions. Be helpful. Don't complicate things. They're tired, you're good with kids. It's just a few days. You can rest later. The instructions feel like common sense because they've been rehearsed. I walked to the sink and washed my hands. I didn't rush. I didn't stall. I dried them with a towel that had seen better years. I won't, I said. Just that, the laugh came again, automatic. You're funny. My brother said. Already scrolling on his phone. Seriously though, I won't, I repeated. No explanation, my mother stopped moving. That was the first thing that changed. When she turned, her face held a look I recognized, calculation masked as concern. Don't start, she said softly. We're counting on you. Counting. The word has weight when you've been used to balance other people's books. I didn't sit down. I stood there with my arms loose at my sides, noticing how the house sounded when no one spoke, refrigerator hum, a car passing outside. The kids had gone quiet, watching the adults recalibrate. I've already booked my return, I said, because it was true and because facts are sturdier than feelings. And I'm not available for childcare. The word available did something to the room. It turned a favor into a job, a family assumption into a transaction. My brother looked up. Irritation flashing across his face like a weather change. This is family. He said as if I'd brought a foreign object into the house. You can't be unavailable. I thought of the holidays I'd spent on couches, listening to laughter from rooms I wasn't invited into. The times I'd been free, when others were busy. I didn't narrate any of that, I didn't need to, I did the math already. I can. I said. And I am. My mother tried another angle, quicker now. We'll make it up to you. There it was. The promissory note that never matures. I'm not asking to be made up to, I said. I wasn't angry. That surprised me too. The calm felt like a room I'd never been in before, echoing a little bare, but clean. The pressure came in waves after that. My brother listing how hard parenting was. My mother cataloging her sacrifices. The way guilt dressed itself as practicality. I let it pass without stepping into it. I didn't add reasons that could be negotiated. I didn't raise my voice to be matched. I said less and less until there was nothing left to pull on. The interruption arrived not as a person bursting through the door, but as an email notification. My brother's phone chimed. He glanced at it, frowned, then frowned harder. What's this? He said. My mother leaned in. Her breath changed, the room seemed to hold it. The trip, the family trip, had been booked through a package deal that included a childcare waiver for the resort. Names mattered. Forms mattered. The babysitter they'd assumed would appear had to be registered. Liability, the email said. Insurance. Policy language that didn't care about our history. They looked at me as if I'd orchestrated this. I hadn't. The authority wasn't personal, that was the point. It was a route that existed whether I complied or not. We can fix this, my mother said too quickly. She stepped aside and lowered her voice, the whisper sharp with fear. No, no, no way, she murmured, as if saying it might make it untrue. My brother swore under his breath. The kids started asking questions. The clock on the microwave blinked, needing to be reset. The solution, when it came, was ordinary. Painfully so. They paid, they shortened the trip. They argued about who would stay back and resented the answer. No one apologized. No one needed to. The consequence had already landed, flat and unadorned. I picked up my bag. You're leaving. My mother asked as if the day had only just begun. I'm going to my hotel. I said, I had booked it months ago, a quiet contingency. I'll see you tomorrow. She nodded stiff. The nod was new, it wasn't approval. It was acknowledgement. Outside, the air felt lighter. Not because I'd won anything, there was no victory to hold, but because I hadn't lost myself in the transaction. I walked to the car without rushing, noticing the way my shoulders sat differently. Later, alone, I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling fan turning at a speed that suggested patience. I felt the grief then, small and precise. Not for the babysitting I wouldn't do, but for the ease we might have had if respect had been assumed instead of extracted. The next day was careful. We spoke about neutral things. Weather, traffic. The kids asked if I'd read them a story. I did, because I wanted to, because I was a choice and not a conscription. My brother watched, quieter now. My mother's eyes flicked toward me and away again. When I left at the end of the week, there was still no hug at the door. There was something else instead. A pause long enough to feel intentional. Safe travels. My mother said, with warmth. It wasn't reconciliation. It was a boundary acknowledged on both sides. A new line drawn with a steady hand. I walked away with the kind of quiet that doesn't announce itself. Not relief exactly, dignity, maybe. And the knowledge that the next time someone laughed and told me where I belonged, I would know the sound of my own voice when it said no.